Alrighty, guys. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, September the 11th, my friends. Hope everyone is doing well. Glad to have you guys here. So I want to do something here real quickly. I know this is typically not something we usually do, but since today is the anniversary of 9/11, I do want to give a few moments of silence for the people who lost their lives. So we're going to do that now. All right, guys. So, well, welcome, everybody. Good morning to you. We got ourselves a bit of stuff we need to discuss. We got a lot of updates here for you. Whenever it comes to it, we are expecting a Category 2 now at Landfall. Once again, the storm has actually picked up a lot of strength, my friends, since yesterday. I think yesterday's update, what were we at? I think we're at 75 sustained, if I'm not mistaken. We're now at 90. We're now at 90 sustained, man. So sustained winds of 90 miles an hour with gusts up to 115. Central low is down to 976 millibars. This is as of the 8 o'clock update here. Now, to be classified as a Category 2, the storm has got to be sustained of, like, I think it's 94? Pretty sure 94 or greater is considered Category 2. So as we approach our way into this afternoon, right around 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, which will be for us over in this area, for us local people impacted, this would be like 1 o'clock for you guys. So as of the 2 o'clock update here, the 2 o'clock forecast track down in time today, we should be sustained around 100 miles an hour with gusts up to 120. Now, obviously, there is no marker for, direct landfall, for where we're going to, see that landfall. But it's probably going to be somewhere still, I'd say, around like 95 or 100 mile an hour sustained. So it's going to be like lower in Category 2 strength, upper in Category 1 strength overall. So we're going to have to look out there for that. Now, obviously, we already have our hurricane warnings. We've known this for a while now. Hurricane warnings are in effect here. Here's the latest infrared. You can kind of see that there's, two big areas of, two big blobs of convection. The core of the storm is somewhere in here, roughly right around this area here. A really big blob of convection going on like the western side of the storm. There's obviously no eye right now. There's no visible eye. But if we take a look at the radar, we're going to go ahead and bring up our Louisiana radar. We got KLCH. You can actually kind of see there's that quote-unquote eye wall that's more of the core, basically like the core wall, I guess we'll call it. It's like I said, I wouldn't consider it an eye wall because there's no visible eye yet, but this would be where the eye wall is. This is basically, like the wall, the inner wall there. But anyways, so yeah, that's where a lot of your strongest winds are currently at right now. But you can see, obviously we're still a little ways away. Um, you know, we are still a little bit ways away from, like I mentioned, landfall here. Let's see here. Shrimpy says, "What do you mean the people who lost their lives?" Oh, I was just doing a moment of silence for the 9/11 victims because they lost their lives. Unfortunately, that was a very, very sad day, and a day that we'll never forget. Let's see here. What's up, tabletop? Yellow blob off north. Oh yeah, we do. I looked at that earlier. Models are still supporting it, so we'll keep an eye on it. There's another system that we might want to watch. It's got a 20% chance of development here. The overall probs are pretty low, and we got a handful of little bubbles over here towards like the MDR, the main development region here. We got ourselves a 90% chance on this one over here, 50 in the next 2 days, 90 overall. Let's see here. And, of course, we have ourselves a 30% chance for this little guy down here. I don't know why that's in orange. Let's see here. This one's a 10-10. So, yeah, this one over here is pretty low. Odds of forming. We'll get more in depth in the models in a minute with all the systems and stuff like that. But for right now, obviously, our main concern is the one that's literally getting ready to slap Louisiana. So, like I mentioned, out there towards like I mentioned, out there towards Louisiana, we definitely need to be very much prepared. You guys should obviously be prepared by now. If you're not, make sure you have your final preps done soon because we're going to start really feeling those effects soon. So, landfall area is going to be somewhere, let's see here. We have like Marsh Island Wildlife Refuge, areas near Patterson, Morgan City. That's roughly where the landfall is expected for today. I think some of this here is like, see, there's like mosquito gas field. Narrow hammock, that's interesting. I think a lot of this is like wetlands, if I'm not mistaken, over on this part of Louisiana. Let's see here. Rebecca says, my grandma passed on September 11th, 2021. Sorry to hear that, Rebecca. She's in a better place now, my friend. But yeah, I mean, so Morgan City, Patterson, Franklin, how do you say that one? Ginaretti? So those areas there is, kind of in the cone here. That's roughly where we're going to be seeing, the landfall. So just a bit of a heads up. Now, we'll get into timing and stuff like that whenever we dive into the model analysis. But you can already see, some of those bands already starting to go over Louisiana here. If we take a look at radar's estimated total precipitation, obviously, there's not a whole lot that's fallen quite yet because the storm is, just now starting to get involved into this area. But yeah, some areas have already seen maybe a quarter, half an inch of rain in some spots throughout Louisiana. Obviously, that's going to continue to increase throughout the day. We're going to do live coverage today, later this evening. Like I mentioned, landfall today is going to be like late afternoon, early evening, I think, kind of maybe mid-evening. We'll figure that out with the models. I really haven't browsed the models much this morning. I kind of waited to do that with you guys so we can kind of, look at everything. Shrimpy says, thank you. I thought you meant from the hurricane. I know about the meaning of today's... Yeah, no. It was... Yeah, I just wanted to do a moment of silence this morning for the people who lost their lives. But, yeah, no, not hurricane related. But, obviously, now that we're moving on into the hurricane, obviously, like I said, I want you guys to be ready. Now, the core of the storm looks like it might be going right near Baton Rouge, which that would be a bit concerning. Obviously, Baton Rouge, we actually do have hurricane warnings in effect. So Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we are expecting hurricane conditions, okay? New Orleans, just on the outside, but New Orleans here, we do have a tropical storm warning in effect. Tropical storm conditions. Now, remember, there's going to be a lot of impacts today. Tornadoes is going to be an impact. Let's actually take a look at the SPC real quickly. But yeah, tornadoes will be an issue. Obviously, we have ourselves storm surge, flooding from the rainfall and stuff like that here. Let's go ahead and hop over here to the SPC. So today's outlook here, We got a slight risk out there for like the eastern side of Louisiana, southern Mississippi, like Gulfport area. We got Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida. So, a lot of these areas here in the yellow. This is the level 2 threat for flooding. I'm an idiot. Not for flooding. I'm sorry. I'm just still waking up, guys. Level 2 threat for severe weather. We'll get into the flooding aspect of things. I think we still have that moderate risk in effect we looked at yesterday. But yes, slight level 2 threat for severe weather, and then, like I said, for tornadoes, though. 5% chance as of right now for tornado probability. So some of these highly populated areas include like New Orleans, Mobile, Meta area. I'm not too sure. Louisiana, Gulfport, Mississippi, and Kenner, Louisiana. Those are in the 5% regions here. And of course, the 2% region includes Baton Rouge, Meridian, Mississippi, New Liberia, Shenandoah, and Laurel, Mississippi. You guys are in that level 2 or the low tornado threat for today. So, but overall, most of the tornadic activity is going to be in the shade of brown. Obviously, potential for some tornadoes as well across the dark green there. Overall, and then of course we have a little bit of a threat up in the Pacific Northwest today. A little marginal risk, nothing too big. No tornadoes up there. Just a little bit of wind, a little bit of hail towards like Montana. Portions of Idaho, a little bit of Oregon included, a little bit of northern Nevada, barely squeezing in that risk there. But yeah, the main concern is going to be down there in the southeast here regarding the tropical system here. Then, of course, we work way into tomorrow. Now, tomorrow we actually got 2 slight risks. We got a slight risk up in the kind of like the Pacific. I would really consider this Pacific Northwest. This is kind of more of like this is like right on the Rockies. I'm pretty sure this side of Montana is relatively flat, so we're just going to call this the Northern Plains. So we got a slight risk out there, 2% chance for tornadoes actually up in Montana tomorrow. And of course we have the continuation of the tornado threat due to this tropical system here throughout the panhandle of Florida, 5%. Alabama will be at risk for tornadoes tomorrow. As that low tracks up to the north, it's going to be bringing up a lot of, strong wind shear. It's going to be bringing up, a lot of that instability, which is prime conditions for tornadoes. In which, Panhandle, Florida tomorrow, Alabama, bits of Georgia, and then, like I said, that level 2 threat, we have like a little bit of Mississippi and a little bit of Tennessee included in the tornado threat for tomorrow too, for like extreme south central Tennessee there. Overall. So, and of course, day 3, as of now for Friday, there is no active severe weather expected. As of right now, today and tomorrow will be the days for severe weather. Now, obviously, today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday. So as of now, it's just Wednesday and Thursday that we have the tornado threat. So like I said, we're going to go live later. We're going to be covering the system as it makes landfall. So we'll be talking about active tornado warnings. We'll be kind of, going over live graphics. I actually have a storm chaser, Omar. He's going to be on the ground. He's actually in Louisiana right now. He's going to be storm chasing out there. So we're going to have a live storm chaser. We're going to have live cameras. We're going to have radar, satellite imagery, everything we really need to have. So we're going to have all that in the bag here for today. Let's see. Shrimpy says, thank you for the moment of silence, too. Of course. It's the least I could do. Tabletop says, praying for everyone in the path of the storm, watching from coastal North Carolina. Yep, absolutely, guys. So, like I said, make sure you have your final preps already in place. Like we mentioned, you guys should be well prepared at this point. Because like I said, the storm's literally just outside your doorstep right now. I mean, it's getting close. It's certainly getting close. And so by the time we reach tomorrow morning, the storm should be downgraded back into tropical storm status. Like I mentioned, guys, it is currently an upper level category 1. It's not that far away from Cat 2. Like I mentioned, it's on the forecast track. It is expected to reach Cat 2 later this morning, early this afternoon here. So we'll be right around category 2 strength. I think maybe the 11 o'clock update. I think we have 11 o'clock update. Yeah. I think we'll probably be Cat 2. We might be like maybe around 95 sustained, 100. We are expecting the thing to get to Category 2 as we approach our way just off the coast of Louisiana. Now, there's going to be a bit of problems Later on with the storm here, if we take a look at the satellite imagery, you can actually see all that black over Texas. So that's all dry air. All these colors are representing moisture at various levels in the atmosphere, and obviously the big blob you see here, that's where we have those clouds. That's where obviously the storm is right now. But if you look at the western side, there's a lot of black, which that is showing dry air. There is a lot of dry air, low humidity throughout our atmosphere in this region, which that is going to kind of grab a hold of the storm here and kind of choke it. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. That's going to actually allow the storm to weaken as we approach Louisiana, which might help aid in a rapid destabilization upon landfall. So obviously tropical systems, when they make landfall, they obviously rapidly fall apart because you're taking away their heat source, you're taking away the warm water from the ocean. But in this case, there's also going to be a lot of dry air getting sucked into the storm here, from Texas. All that dry air is already starting to kind of meet the left-hand side of the storm. It's not really interacting too crazily right now. I mean, obviously, we still have a lot of moisture involved. But later on today, though, as we start wrapping in some of that dry air, you're going to notice the storm, as we approach Louisiana, probably starting to weaken. So that could be good. That would certainly be good. Obviously, the weaker the better, of course. But regardless, I mean, dry air or not, the storm's still going to be a very powerful system. I mean, like I said, even tropical storms are a big issue. And like I mentioned, this is going to be like upper Cat 1, lower Cat 2 at landfall. That's kind of what I was forecasting a couple days ago. I was telling you guys about. I was thinking upper Cat 1, lower Cat 2. Seems like our forecast was nailed. I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for that. That way we got that information out early for you guys. But yeah, so like I mentioned, lower Cat 2, upper Category 1 seems to be where everything's kind of zoomed into. So that's kind of what we are looking at. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look here at some of these graphics. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, like storm surge and all that mess. So surges are going to be a really big issue. Let's actually bring this over here to you guys. We're gonna hop you over here, and we're gonna bring this down here. So here's our latest surge map from the Hurricane Center. The point of landfall, we are going to be seeing about 5 to 10 foot of storm surge out there from the Vermilion Bay. Let's see here. Basically, they're towards Intercoastal City, towards Port Fortune, I think it is, Port Fortune. So you guys are going to be getting about 5 to 10 foot storm surge. So if you don't know what storm surge is, it's basically ocean water that's going to be rising 5 to 10 foot above normal, and that's going to be flooding a lot of the coastlines. And so that's going to be an issue across those regions. Once again, Intercoastal City to Port Fortune, we're going to be right around 5 to 10 foot. Some of these other areas here, like mouth of Mississippi River, Port Fortune, 4 to 7 foot out there. Cameron to Intercoastal City, 3 to 5 foot. Freeport to Cameron, 1 to 3 foot. This does include a little bit of like northern coastal Texas, and a little bit of surge is possible. Gulfport area, Mobile Bay, we could be seeing a couple feet of storm surge out there. I mean, shoot, even a little bit of Florida out there towards like the very far western side. That's out there by like Pensacola, isn't it? Yeah, near Pensacola. We're going to be having ourselves maybe a little bit of surges, maybe 1 to 2 foot of storm surge out there. So that is going to be a possibility, but by far the heaviest of the activity, where that landfall is, where the eye wall is going to be literally like grabbing a hold of the coast over here. We're going to be seeing like 5 to 10 foot of storm surge, which that is a lot of surge. That is a big problem. So think of like upwards of 10 foot high water over the area. Not to mention during high tide, where typical tidal forces, where typically the water is higher than normal, plus adding the storm surge, basically the winds pushing all that water inland. So not to mention, we not only are going to have high surges, we're also going to have, at high tide, we're going to be having a big problem with rainfall too. I mean, that's the next thing I want to pull up here for you guys is rainfall. We're going to be seeing those areas here, good 6 to 8 inches, and those low-lying areas, that will accumulate quickly. So that's a big problem. So water is going to be a big issue, and that's honestly the leading killer out of tropical systems. is the flooding. That is the main issue. So that's what we're worried about. Not to mention, like we mentioned before, there's going to be a lot of wind, of course, as well. So whenever you introduce a lot of rain to an area, it really saturates the ground. It loosens up the ground and allows for trees, power lines, stuff like that to come down a lot easier because it's more broken up. The ground's more broken up, and plus the strong winds on top of that will allow for some big trees to come down. So uprooting trees will be a big issue across probably not just Louisiana, but I'd also say like Mississippi, maybe Alabama, Tennessee maybe could have some issues because they're going to be seeing a lot of rainfall as well. 2 to 4 inches of rainfall through a lot of Alabama here. Central and western Tennessee, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall out here. Southeastern Missouri, portions like western Kentucky, eastern Arkansas. This dark green region here is indicating 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. Now we have Mississippi here, including Jackson, but barely. 4 to 6 inches of rainfall out there along the eastern side of Mississippi. And of course, we do have ourselves, portions of the panhandle of Florida there too, like Pensacola, like we mentioned there, included in the 4 to 6 inch range. Now, obviously, the point of landfall, that's where we're going to likely see some of the heaviest precipitation, out there towards literally the south central coastline here of Louisiana. We're going to be seeing about like maximum 6 to 8 expected, with potentially higher local amounts being possible. What category is it? Right now it is an upper level category 1. Yep, she's currently sustained at 90 miles an hour. We are currently gusting, I believe, up to, was it 100, I believe? 115. Yeah, so currently we're sustained at 90, so the winds are constantly blowing at 90. It's literally like 5 mile an hour short from a category 2. It is an upper level category 1 right now. And like we mentioned, this thing is forecasted to be category 2. I think maybe by next update. We'll have to see how that goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if, that pushes up maybe 95, 100 miles an hour sustained. But yeah, right now, currently, the storm is a category 1, upper level category 1, sustained winds of 90 miles an hour with gusts. So peak winds, getting up to right around 115. Central low is down to 976 millibars. And that's as of the 8 o'clock a.m. update. So that was, relatively fresh. That's relatively fresh information. But as we roll our way into the 11 a.m. update, I wouldn't be surprised if we were right at lower Cat 2. Like we mentioned here, as we approach 2 p.m., so later this afternoon, we're actually forecasted to be slightly above lowest end Cat 2, sustained at 100 with gusts up to 120. So yeah, we're obviously going to be picking up, quite a bit of strength here. But like I mentioned before, as we work our way towards the coast here, we're going to be getting a little bit of dry air coming in. We can already see it on the satellite imagery. All that black you see over Texas, like we mentioned, this is all dry air. Low humidity. The atmosphere is pretty dry across this region. Meanwhile, you have all these fancy colors across the Gulf right now. These are indicating a lot of moisture at various levels of the atmosphere, in which obviously, we have the big white puffiness here of the main system. There's a lot of saturation going on in the storm right now, obviously. So that's you could obviously see that dry air, that black there, starting to kind of rub against the western side of the storm. Eventually, as that storm pulls closer, that dry air is going to start nudging on the bottom side of the system, which is going to allow for storm activity to suppress in that region, which will kind of throw off its stability. The storm structure stability, I should say, which will, potentially allow for the storm to kind of start destabilizing as we, kind of near the coast there. So that'll be good. That'll be good. Obviously, let's hope that the dry air gets to it a lot before, we make landfall. But, like I said, time's running out, man. I mean, we don't have that much longer until landfall. We're expecting landfall this evening, like I mentioned. Not this morning, not this afternoon, but, some point this evening. Let's go ahead and hop over into the models. We're gonna go a little more specific here. We're going to go to the HWRF. That's going to be our first model run here that we're going to take a peek at. So when it comes to it, this is the 06 Zulu update. Current time is 12 Zulu, so we should have a new run within a couple hours coming out here with these models, but we're not going to be live at that point. But anyways, but yeah, this is the latest and greatest. Now, according to the HWRF, upon landfall, this is showing like between 5 and 8 p.m. Eastern time, so between 4 and 7 p.m. Central. is when we're expecting landfall according to this model. Okay, so we're going to remember that 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern. This model has it making landfall, with the pressure right around mid 960s. Right now it's in the mid 970s, so this model is expecting about a 10 millibar drop in pressure between now and later this afternoon and evening. Now, there's that dry air I was talking to you guys about. Current state, right around now, we're relatively, obviously we mentioned that there is that dry air on the left-hand side, but storm's relatively still intact. Regarding a lot of moisture, but as we work our way closer to landfall, that dry air is going to really start getting under that storm there, which is going to allow for the system to, kind of halt its thunderstorm activity on the southern side, kind of destabilizing the system. Not to mention, we're going out of warm water, which is going to, naturally kill out the system anyway. So between dry air, between the, removal of ocean water to the variable here, storm is going to, quickly kind of disintegrate, or quickly, I wouldn't say disintegrate, but quickly, kind of disassemble itself. And of course, this is going to remain a big flooding concern for areas up towards maybe like Tennessee, Mississippi. You can see all the kind of bluish green color here. This is indicating a lot of precipitation, a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, in which, that'll continue up into portions like the Midwest here. But, like I mentioned before, though, landfall, according to this model, between 5 and 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So let's hop over to the HMON. This is another model. Now this one shows landfall between 5 and 8 as well. So it seems like we have maybe a bit of agreement here. Between 5 and 8, there's that dry air getting onto the bottom side of the system, as we talked about. Overall, that's going to be... unfortunately, it doesn't look like the dry air is going to get there in time. The dry air is going to get there once the storm has already pushed inland. And kind of once some of the worst impacts have already happened. That's whenever that dry air is going to really start getting to it, according to models. Both HWRF and both this model supported that. Now, this model also shows the pressure getting down maybe in the mid 960s. That, like I said, that would be about a 10 millibar drop or so. So we are expecting some strengthening until then. And if we take a look at those lower dynamics, you can just see here that those winds, that pink there, showing like hurricane force winds in this region, in the purple there. You can just see that those coasts are just going to get absolutely battered with really strong winds. And like I mentioned, what happens there is, since you have such strong winds, that's going to be literally pushing those waves, pushing that water at the coast, and that's what's going to give you those really high surges. Like we mentioned, in this area, the point of landfall, we're expecting about 5 to 10 foot above sea level. So where the ocean normally stands, imagine water 5 to 10 foot higher. That's where the storm, that's how high the water potentially is going to be. So obviously, this is a big problem for coastal areas. On top of that, like we mentioned, tidal forces can even, obviously add to higher levels. Also, rainfall, like we mentioned, I think it was 6 to 8 inches in the landfall area. That's going to add to more water, which is not what we want. That's definitely not what we want. So there's going to be a lot of problems with this area. And like obviously, geography speaking, Louisiana does not handle water at all. There's a lot of problems with Louisiana, especially New Orleans. If you don't know, they're actually below sea level, and they have those levees that's keeping that water in. But when you introduce a lot of rain like this, it could become a big issue. It could become a really big problem. So obviously, New Orleans, it could be worse. I will say that it could be a lot worse. However, it's still not going to be all, good and fun out there, because New Orleans is still in a tropical storm warning, for one, but also, whenever it comes to like the rainfall and such, we'll go ahead and hop you guys back over here real quickly. When it comes to the rainfall and such, they're going to be seeing up to 6 inches of rainfall out there. 4 to 6 inches of rain out there in New Orleans. That's a big deal. Plus, like I mentioned, we're going to be seeing a bit of surges, out there towards Lake Pontchartrain. Is that how you say that? Pontchartrain? I'm not too sure. I'm not from the area. I don't really know this area too much. But 4 to 6 foot of surges out there even. So not only is there going to be a lot of rain, but there's also going to be a lot of surges out there as well. But yeah, the main area Force surges is going to be up there in that red area. 5 to 10 foot above sea level is expected overall. So that, my friends, is a big issue. Now, they have hurricane watch. I didn't know they put hurricane watches out there. Is that new? That's near New Orleans, isn't it? Yeah, near New Orleans. Lake Pontchartrain, to put hurricane watches out there. That's very interesting. I did not know that those were there. If we take a look at the experimental cone, you can actually see how we have, the red here. That's our hurricane warnings in effect for those regions there. The blue is indicating tropical storm warnings. So literally the entire southern coastline of Louisiana is in at least tropical storm warnings. The middle portion is in hurricane warnings, where that landfall is expected. And of course, we have ourselves like all of southern Mississippi, including like Gulfport area. Even like southwestern Mississippi even has tropical storm warnings in place. Mobile, Alabama, we have those areas there included in that tropical storm warning activity, and even some of those tropical storm watches overall. We are seeing, the potential out there for, like I mentioned, potential tropical storm activity overall. Let's see, you do not know New Orleans. Yeah, I never grew up there. From Virginia myself, so not too familiar with the area. But I do know that New Orleans and, just Louisiana in general have a big problem with flooding. And, like I said, when you introduce a lot of rain like that, several inches of rainfall, like I said, 6 to 8 inches, upon the landfall point, not to mention, some of those areas experiencing like 5 to 10 foot of surges. Not New Orleans, but, Louisiana, it's a big problem, for anywhere, really. So that is certainly going to be a big issue there. But anyways, now currently where those tropical storm warnings tropical storm force winds are being felt estimatedly here, the yellow is representing here the estimated tropical storm force winds. Obviously right now we are not hitting Louisiana yet. We'll start to feel those later on, likely this afternoon is when we're going to start feeling those tropical storm force conditions. And of course, the red indicating those hurricane force winds out there. If we take a look here back at the models, like the HMON here, for example, when it comes to it, we're gonna likely start to see those tropical storm warnings, tropical storm conditions, sometime early afternoon. Sometime early afternoon. This is like right around 2 p.m. according to this. Some of the southern islands here of Louisiana, we're going to start to see, those tropical storm force winds, like 35 knots and greater out there. And of course, those hurricane I keep on saying warnings, man. Those hurricane conditions are going to start to really start to impact the region there, kind of by late afternoon, going into the early evening there. So, like I mentioned, we're expecting landfall between 5 and 8 p.m. That's what the HMON and HWRF agree on. So, we have a bit of agreement there. Both models do show that pressure getting down into the mid 960s by the time we reach about a 10 millibar drop. Right now, we're down to 974. Let me fact check that. Let's see. Right now, we are at 976. Okay, so we're at 976. And the models here, the models have us, those two models have it going down into the mid 960s overall. Let's see. Faith Cat says, I'm just hoping that it won't be like Hurricane Zeta. It hit my home area, Washington County, Alabama. Gotcha. So, one of the things, my friend, that you want to look out for, this speaks to a lot of my folks up in Alabama. We mentioned this a few minutes ago, but I do want to go over to, the new people joining us. So tomorrow, all of Alabama does have some form of tornado threat. The biggest concern for tornadoes, the most probabilistic area for seeing tornadoes tomorrow, is going to be for the panhandle of Florida, southwestern Georgia, barely scraping the bottom there, as well as central and southern portions of Alabama. We have a 5% chance for tornadic activity tomorrow. Also, can't forget about that little 2% up there in eastern Montana, too. And of course, here for tomorrow, for today, that was for tomorrow. This is for today here. For today, we do have ourselves, like I said, the 5% risk out there for like eastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and portions like coastal Panhandle, Florida. So we're gonna get some, some tornadic activity. You got the cyclone-induced, tornadic activity going on there, where basically you have increased wind shear. You got some pretty high helicity values, which could really, spark that tornadic formation. So you got high helicities, strong shear overall, and of course you have a lot of your instability. That's where your energy is in the atmosphere to produce tornadic activity. So basically it just sums up to that's where the best ingredients come together for tornadoes overall. But yeah, once again today, the dark brown here, this is a 5% chance for tornadoes. The green is a 2% chance for tornadoes. So keep that in mind overall. And of course, a little marginal up there in the northwest here. No tornadoes, just wind and a little bit of hail. Just want to go ahead and draw that out. And then of course, one last time, for Friday as of now, there's no active severe weather threats. So that's good. One thing I do want to pull you guys over to now, and then we'll dive back into models. One thing I do want to go ahead and bring up, though, is the flooding threat for today. Now, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and remove these active warnings and watches. Let's go ahead and get those tropical ones out of here for now. Unclutter up the place here. There we go, much better. So let's go ahead and add the flooding outlook here for today. We got our day 1 outlook. Look at this, got a big old moderate. So the scale goes up to 4 for flooding. For severe weather, it goes up to 5. For flooding, it goes up to 4. We're at a level 3 out of 4. So we're up there. We're up there. Pretty big flooding threat today. So New Orleans, Baton Rouge is included. What's up, Chris? I hope you're doing good. Baton Rouge, New Orleans. We have Hattiesburg. We have Jackson, Mississippi included there. So we have those regions included regarding the moderate risk for flooding. So you guys, if you're in this area, like I mentioned, that's a big problem for flooding. So if you're in a flood-prone area, please be extra cautious, because there's going to be a lot of water, both ocean water as well as a lot of precipitation, a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. There's going to be a lot of water across this area. Okay, so keep that in mind. So moderate level 3 out of 4 threat for southern Mississippi and eastern portions here of Louisiana. Now, the flooding threat doesn't end there. Obviously, the flooding threat goes all the way throughout. Even Florida here. We have ourselves a level 2 flooding threat, even in the Georgia, Alabama, level 1 flooding threat across like eastern Texas, southern Arkansas. So, it's not just Mississippi and Louisiana in the flooding threat. We got to, pretty good chunk of the the Gulf coastal southeast here that has a bit of a flooding threat, but the main areas, yes, will be for Louisiana and Mississippi. So keep that in mind. I just wanted to go ahead and go over that. Now tomorrow, we'll go ahead and go over tomorrow since we're already on the topic here. Tomorrow they do not have a moderate, but we have a slight, which is at level 2 out of 4. So the middle threat for flooding tomorrow. But they do include areas out there towards like western Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville's in the level 1. We have Paducah, Kentucky. We got ourselves like southeastern portions here of very, very far southeastern Missouri. Of course, we have ourselves like eastern Arkansas included here as well, like Jonesboro, Little Rock in the level 1 threat for flooding. But so flooding will be a continuation for tomorrow for a lot of the areas near Tennessee, like Kentucky, northern Mississippi. But today is going to be, as of now, the heaviest of the flooding days. Then, of course, for day 3, which is Friday, we'll just have a little marginal risk as of now. So, small chance for some localized flooding. Meanwhile, today we have a very large risk for, just a very large risk for flooding, just in general out here. Let's see here. Jason says it's gonna be a monster. Yeah. No, she's a beast, man. She's a beast. Amanda says thank you for the information. Watch from Alabama. You're very welcome, Amanda. Good morning to you. So like I said, big flooding problem. That's going to be a big issue. We're going to hop you guys back over here to the surges. So like I mentioned, here's our latest surge map here from the National Hurricane Center. Like I said, if you're wondering where I got the data from, this is from the nhc.noaa.gov. This is official data. I want to just go ahead and, disclaimer that, just to let you guys know this is official. So this is 5 to 10 foot of storm surge out there. So we're talking, like I said, 5 to 10 foot of water above normal level, above sea level. So that's going to be a big problem, especially for my folks who live on the coast down there. So 5 to 10 foot of storm surge, not to mention, like I said, tidal forces. You got high tide, which would bring in even more water. You got the rainfall, which is just going to add to even more water. So it's going to be a big wet mess down here for sure. So 5 to 10 foot of storm surge between Intercoastal City and Port Fortune. This will be right around, like I said, 5 to 10 foot above normal. Now, then we have Port Fortune to the mouth of the Mississippi. We are expecting about 4 to 7 foot. Cameron to Intercoastal City along the western side, 3 to 5 foot. Even northern coastal Texas, Freeport to Cameron, 1 to 3 foot of storm surge. Then we work our way up there towards the big lake, towards New Orleans, 4 to 6 foot. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Pontchartrain. Is that how you say it? I think that's how you say it. Obviously, probably very, very much wrong, but I'm not good with pronunciations. But anyways, 4 to 6 foot out there for basically areas near Gulfport. Anywhere from 3 to 5 to 4 to 6 foot. Storm surge out in the region. Mobile Bay, 2 to 4 foot, and look at that, even a little sliver of potential storm surge of 2 to 4 foot along areas towards like Pensacola, Florida. So the little tip of the western panhandle could see maybe a little bit overall. The pressure's dropped down to the 970s. Yes, we're 976. I think we have hurricane hunters in it right now. Let's actually take a quick little peek at the hurricane hunters, see what we got going on here. We got a couple storms. Oh, we had a 972 reading earlier. Is that? Oh, buddy, look at that. We had a 972 reading. We had about 80. It's kind of hard to tell. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so this is our flight level winds, but we want to look. Yeah, we don't have any SFMR, unfortunately, but flight level winds were pretty high. It's not obviously correlating to the surface though. But pressure, was in that looks like 974 roughly, 974, maybe 973. Pressure's definitely dropping fairly quickly. Let's go ahead and grab, I think there might be another plane. Yeah, there's another plane in here too. 975, 976. Here, this one we have SFMR, which is basically like surface winds here. And these are showing about 65 knots. So let's do a conversion here. We'll do knots to miles per hour. So what I say, 65? Okay, so 65 knots would be 74 miles an hour. So that would be low in category 1. But look at this. And the first scan, or one of the first, or the first set of data we could see here, that actually got up to 75 knots. So that would have pushed us over to 86 sustained. Right now, like we mentioned, from the Hurricane Center themselves, it is currently sustained at 90 miles an hour, which makes it an upper level category 1. And the gusts are getting up to 115. Central low is down to 976 per the 8 o'clock update. It's about 45 minutes ago, roughly. So, that's where we stand right now. And like I mentioned, here, I'll go ahead and bring up the Saffir-Simpson scale for you guys. So like I mentioned, it is a 90 mile an hour sustained storm right now. And whenever it comes to category 2 realm, that puts us to 96 and above. So, like we mentioned, by 2 p.m., according to the Hurricane Center, the storm will be sustained at 100. This will be right around 2 p.m., gusting up to 120. That would put us into category 2 realm. And we have an update on the tropics at 11 o'clock. The Hurricane Center is going to be giving us an update at 11 o'clock, which I wouldn't be, if we continue on the rate that we're going right now. I mean, she's been picking up some strength. I would not be surprised if we are right on the brink of Cat 2, if not lower Cat 2 by the next update. I would not be surprised, to be honest with you guys. But anyways, but yeah, so like I mentioned, Category 2 is 96 to 110. We're not going to get anything higher than Cat 2. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that now. No chance. But like I mentioned, I think max speed is going to be low in Category 2, which it's forecasted to be a Category 2. But anyways, so yeah, let's hop back up here to the models, guys. We haven't finished looking at those yet. But anyway, so this is the HWRF, like we mentioned. We're going to go ahead and zoom out just a tad. So the time's in the top right if you guys want to follow along, by the way. So between the HWRF and the HMON, landfall is between 5 and 8 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 4 and 7 Central for you guys. So pressure, according to both models, is in the mid-960s upon landfall. Now let's hop over to another model here. We're going to look at the HAFSA model. The HAFSA model has the system kind of in the lower 970s, so not losing too much more pressure between now and then. Landfall should be right around 8 o'clock, according to this model. So this one shows it maybe a little bit later than the other models. But this model in particular shows right around 8 Eastern for landfall, which would be right there at 7 o'clock, your guys' local time. So central time would be, it'll be right around 7 o'clock landfall. So, it'll be just before sunset, pretty much, is when we're going to start to have, that's when the landfall is going to occur. Now, the hurricane force winds are going to happen, sometime late this afternoon. But it's not really till evening until we have the core or the eye of the storm go over the land. That's not going to happen until, probably between like 5 and 8 p.m. Anyways, so that's HAFSA, showing lower pressure overall too. Now HAFSB, its sister model, shows 969 millibars, so maybe upper 960s, kind of at landfall, it's mid 970s, but this one also shows landfall at 8 p.m. So right now, I would say probably between like 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, or 5 to 8 p.m. Central. That's probably whenever we're going to have the landfall. It's going to be somewhere in that time. Now, obviously, be able to pinpoint it down to the exact minute. Can't really tell that for sure, but it'll be sometime late this afternoon, early evening. That we can tell you. And at this point too, I mean, these coastlines are going to really start. Those conditions are going to really start deteriorating once we hit noon. As soon as noon approaches, we're going to really start to feel those winds along the coastline, and it's just going to continue to get worse throughout the afternoon, throughout the evening. By far the worst of it's going to be during the landfall process, and that's going to be, like we mentioned, between 5 and 8 p.m. That is whenever the heaviest is expected. And, of course, as the saying continues to pull up to the north here, that those winds are going to rapidly weaken. It's being pulled out of the water. And there's actually going to be a bit of dry air getting into the system, which would be good. You can see there represented in the brown. As we make landfall here, you can actually see that, obviously we're going to be having a lot of dry air infiltration, a lot of that, low humid air throughout the atmosphere. You can see this big gap between our dew point and our temperature here on our SKU-T plot along the mid-atmosphere. That is a lot of dry air. Okay, so that's going to be, stunting convection. That's going to be preventing thunderstorms from happening on the southern side, which is just going to destabilize the storm even further. So, looks like conditions are going down now. Are they? Here, let's see. I think we do got here, let's see if I can pull up. I'm pretty sure we got some good. I do have a storm chaser that we're gonna have later today for coverage. I'm gonna go live some point like later today. Here, let's hop you all back over here. So we do have cameras in Louisiana. I got a lot of cameras. These are not coastal cameras, though. Unfortunately, let's try this one here. Let's see what the conditions look like on this camera. Ooh, that looks kind of interesting. Let's see here. Let's try to load up a video camera, though. Oh, that one's okay. That one's down. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, some of these are not working very well. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, there's a live cam right there. I mean, conditions don't look too bad. They don't look too bad, although the camera quality is pretty low. I can see the leaves moving a little bit. I mean, I'm sure it's getting a little little windy out there, but we're not even in tropical storm winds out here yet. So, like I said, currently the tropical storm force wind field is located just offshore. So this was the update here, 7 a.m. Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. So this was literally about an hour ago. This yellow circle you see here, this is where the estimated tropical storm force winds are located right about now. And the red, obviously, showing where the hurricane force winds are estimated to be, like right about now. So, but anyways, so yeah, that's going to continue to, it's going to really start to increase once we work our way up into this afternoon here. So, and once we transition in the afternoon, we're going to start to feel those tropical storm force winds, and then as we approach the evening, that's when the hurricane force winds are going to really start hitting in. Like I said, as of now, I'm going to try to go live around 5 p.m. Eastern. It could be later. We're going to go live right as the storm makes landfall. We're going to go live roughly right around the time the storm makes landfall. So we'll cover that here for you guys. But anyways, but that's that. Now, if you guys have any questions here, I am more than happy to answer y'all's questions. So if you have any questions, throw them down in the chat. Like I said, I'm here for you. I want to give y'all some, some updates. If y'all are, concerned about an area, let me know, and I'll let you know if you'll have any big problems in that region. But anyways, like I mentioned, bottom line is landfall 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern. We're expecting 5 to 10 foot of storm surge out there, 6 to 8 inches of water at the landfall site from rainfall. Sustained winds are going to be right around 100 miles an hour, roughly upon landfall, gusting maybe up to around 120 or so. So we're going to be like low in category 2 at landfall. Right now, like we mentioned, with the current activity, the storm right now is sustained at 90 miles an hour, which is just short of Cat 2. It is, like I mentioned, it is currently in upper level category 1. Central low is down to 976 millibars, and the wind gusts are up to 115 sustained overall. Or sorry, gusts. Sorry. Sustained at 90, gusts up to 115. South Haven, Mississippi getting hit. Let's see. There's a lot of areas in Mississippi that's going to be in the concern area. Yeah, so you're definitely in a region where I would be watching closely, of course. Now, the good news is that you're obviously far away from the coast. I mean, so you're not going to have any direct impacts from that. There's going to be a good amount of rain, more than likely. If we take a look at the rainfall map out there, you're probably going to see a good 2 to 4 inches at least. Locally higher amounts, of course. You can see right there. Let's hop you back over here, y'all. But yeah, it's a good 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. This is the official map from the WPC. We're going to even refresh this for you guys. A lot of central western, Tennessee out there, western Kentucky, southeastern Missouri, eastern Arkansas, Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, this dark green area here, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. Light green, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Yellow, 4 to 6 out here. So a lot of Mississippi. You can see that big streak. That's where the core of the storm is probably just going to uppercut the states here. And of course, at the landfall point there, we could see about 6 to 8 inches. So, anyways, sorry if I missed it. Will Texas be impacted? No, Texas is fine. For the most part, we're not expecting, as crazy impacts as we are expecting for Louisiana. We're not going to see much rain out here, not really picking up a whole lot when it comes to it. Now, right now, we do have ourselves, those tropical storm warnings kind of cutting off right at the Texas border. Texas will be mostly fine. There's going to be some rip currents, more than likely. We're going to have some of those coastal impacts, with that. But whenever it comes to it, like storm surge and stuff like that, we do have a little bit of storm surge potential for the northern coast of Texas, but 1 to 3 foot is fairly mild. It's definitely not anything like the 5 to 10 that we're expecting at landfall. So, but yeah, so that's that. But yeah, Texas will be fine. Texas is not really expected to have really much anything big going on. Louisiana by far is going to take the heaviest, and secondly Mississippi. Feels so much better now that the heat wave is over. Gotcha. That's always nice. Absolutely. But anyways, but yeah, so that's the latest surges, and then once again for the people just joining, this is the rain map once again, y'all. Mississippi, the yellow here. This is 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. Southeastern, kind of eastern side here of Louisiana, we have 4 to 6 inches as well. Panhandle of Florida, we are talking, good still 4 to 6 inches of rain out there. We're going to see a good amount. Then of course the tornado probability, as we mentioned here too. If we hop over to the day one outlook again for you guys regarding today's tornadic potential, we do got ourselves, like I said, a slight risk today for severe weather. The greatest potential for tornadoes is going to be in the brown. That is a 5% chance of tornadoes happening within 25 miles of an area. So if you're in the brown, you have a 5% chance of tornadic activity within 25 miles of within a radius of 25 miles in your area. So 5% chance, like I said, including eastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, so like Pensacola is included. We got like Gulfport, we got Mobile, and of course we have like New Orleans. Those areas included there in the like I said, in that 5% chance for tornadoes. So there will be a tornado threat today. Remember that, because these tropical systems, they increase wind shear. On the right-hand side is what we call the dirty side of the system. That is where we have, the strongest helicities, which, basically like rotation, potential, a lot of strong wind shear, a lot of the moisture as well as a lot of the instability. All of that's in the eastern side of the system, and that's why we get tornadic activity in the eastern sides, because that's where all of that lies. Okay, so anyways, but yeah, tornadoes will be a concern. Keep that in mind as well. Let's see here. Thank you. Always appreciate your coverage. No problem, my friend. Glad to help out. Let's see. It looks like we ain't getting rain in South Haven. It's pretty good. Yeah, I remember Hurricane Ida. That was a nightmare. I remember Ida too. It seems like the I names were the crazy ones. Ida, Irma, Ian, Idalia was pretty bad too. I mean, we had some pretty nasty I name storms in the past, of course. This is not an I name storm. Of course, this one is Francine. But anyways, so that's that. And like I said, for the people who's just joining, who wants to know what it's doing right now, like I said, currently it's a Category 1. It's an upper-level Category 1, sustained winds of 90 miles an hour. We're gusting up to 115. Central low is down to 976 millibars overall. So that is the current vitals of the storm right now. By 2 p.m., this afternoon, we are forecasted to be sustained here of 100 miles an hour with gusts up to 120. Models are estimating the pressure to be in probably the lower 970s by the time we approach here. Obviously, direct correlation we don't really know quite yet, but probably the lower 970s, maybe upper 960s, according to some models there upon landfall, so we'll have to see. And of course, like I said, current satellite imagery, here's the latest infrared there. You can see that, we've got some pretty good convection going on in some of the western sides here of the storm. You can see that, obviously, some of those cooler tops there are starting to really pop up over like Louisiana. We're starting to get some rain out here, but you can see there's some heavy convection on the western side of the storm right now. If we take a look at the water vapor scan, you can see there's a lot of dark. There's a lot of black here. This is showing dry air. There's a lot of dry air starting to infiltrate under the storm and a bit of the western side. As of now, it's not as much of an issue. It's going to be a big problem once, the storm starts digging inland. Once we start digging inland, that's when the dry air is going to really start to pile in on the bottom side of the storm, getting rid of that thunderstorm activity on the bottom once we get inland there. And you're going to notice, not as much activity on the bottom part of the cyclone once, with thunderstorms, once the system starts digging inland. Where's this located? Storm's located just south of Louisiana here and just east of Texas. So storm's right in here. Now for a precise measurement of where the storm is currently at from, let's say, a given area, from the landfall point, we are about, let me pull up, hold on, let me do this real quickly. Reflectivity, I need to grab the core. Okay, so there you go. There's your core of the storm there, you can see. So from the quote-unquote eye to the point of landfall, we're still about 160 miles off. So when it comes to, like I said, landfall today, it's going to be late afternoon, evening upon landfall. Like I said, between 5 and 8 p.m. is kind of when the models are suggesting that landfall. And like I said, it's going to be either an upper level category 1 or a lower end category 2 at landfall. Either or, not much of a huge drastic not much of a huge drastic difference either in a lower Cat 2 or upper Cat 1. The winds are only 5-10 mile an hour, probably different. So, either or. I mean, there's still going to be a lot of impacts. Once again, 5 to 10 foot of storm surge, 6 to 8 inches of rain at the landfall site. There's a lot of issues. Let's see, probably no severe weather anymore. Tornado season ended a few months ago. Main tornado season, yes, but obviously we have second spring coming in. We quote-unquote second spring. When we start introducing a lot of cooler air back into the country, that will spark off some more severe weather. Typical fall behavior. But anyways, my friends, well, if you guys have any questions, once again, feel free to let me know. We're probably going to wrap things up here soon this morning. Like I said, we're just doing a little bit of a morning update for you guys. I wanted to go live for you guys this morning to do, a quick little weather update here for you guys. Like I mentioned, we're going live this evening, so make sure you tune in. We'll have a storm chaser. We will have live cameras. We will have live radar, live infrared satellite, visible satellite, water vapor satellite. I mean, everything we really need will be available to us. And we'll be live between 5 and 8. Subscribe if you haven't. Turn on those notifications. That way you guys do get alerted whenever we do go live. That way whenever you get that notification, that's when the landfall is going to start kicking up there. Absolutely. But if you guys have any final questions before I roll off here, feel free to let me know. I'll be more than glad to help you out. So here's the latest radar. Like I mentioned, you can already start to see some of that rain really piling into Louisiana. So far, they've already gotten like a half an inch of rain in some spots, so not a whole lot right now. But like we mentioned, when this is all said and done, we're going to get quite a bit of precipitation out there. Once again, at the landfall site, near like Morgan City, Franklin area, we're going to likely see probably a good 6 to 8 inches of rainfall out in those regions. What about mountain time? So you guys are 2 hours behind. So 5 to 8 Eastern is when we're expecting landfall. That'll be 3 to 5? Yeah, 3 to 5. Wait, no. I can't math. I'm sorry. It's too early. But anyways. I think it's 3 to 6. Yeah, 3 to 6 Mountain Time. Let's see. Flying trampolines. Those videos are always hilarious. Yeah, that's a big problem. Make sure if you have anything that's loose outside, please. I mean, obviously you can't bring a trampoline indoors, but you can anchor it. Which, like I said, I hope you guys have already prepared for the storm here, because we're kind of this thing's right on the doorstep right now. So it's a little. I wouldn't say it's fully too late to prepare. I mean, because we're still not seeing those tropical storm force winds yet. But your time is running narrow. Time is running thin. So if you have anything loose outside, if you're in Louisiana right now, anything loose that can get blown around easily, bring it inside now. Do not hesitate. Do not wait till later. There is no later. It's now or never. Okay, so get it done. Just get it over with. And because, like I said, first of all, you don't want to lose your property, man. You don't want to, damage your property, risk losing your property. Not to mention, it could become a hazard to others. People outside, which I hope you're not outside during the storm, but, objects can go flying. Your outside patio furniture could go airborne. It could run into your neighbor's window. I mean, there's just nature. Crazy. So, yeah, just bring it indoors, man. Bring it indoors. Let's see here. It's 3 to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Let's see. What is microwave satellite imagery showing for Francine? Let's actually we'll take a look at the satellite imagery here for you guys. Let's see. So I don't necessarily have that. I have infrared, but I don't have microwave. I don't really use microwave too much on my streaming stuff. but I can show you visible water vapor, and I will show you everything really. So let's hop over here. Ignore that little tile in the top right. That's for models and the time. But anyways, I mean, like I mentioned, the core of the storm is like right in here. We have a lot of heavy convection on the western side. Pretty good convection going on there. Still showing some strengthening signs. When it comes to the water vapor, you can see, like I said, this is a lot of the drier air up in Texas. This is going to start getting pulled into the bottom side of the storm later this afternoon. And of course, like I said, with the true color view, with sunrise and stuff like that going, you can still pretty much see what we were just talking about for the most part. See, all right, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I am sure you probably have a way of looking at yourself, so just Mr. Barrel. Let's see here. Looks like it's tracking more east to my eye. Let's see here. Let's hop back to radar here. So the core is like right in here. Let's see. So the core, it looks like it's on track. It looks like it's kind of going to roughly like the northeast here. No, it looks on track to me. All right, my friends. Well, like I said, going once, going twice. Any final questions y'all might have, throw them down in the chat here. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, leaving a like. It'll be greatly, greatly appreciated. Once again, we'll be live this evening for live coverage on the Landfall. Like I said, we're going to be having ourselves a storm chaser. We have Omar going out there today. So we're going to have storm chasers, live cameras. We're going to have radar, satellite imagery, models, really everything you need to know. Hurricane Hunter data, everything that we can literally have to track this thing we're going to have. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave a like. Be greatly appreciated. And, yeah, but once again, final questions for the update. Like I said, this is just just an hour update this morning. For you guys regarding what's it doing, what's it doing right now and stuff like that. So if you're just joining us, feel free to rewind the live stream, go back to where we started, and then like I said, I'll see you guys later on this afternoon. Okay. See, I do not like that yellow blob. It's a 20% chance right now at tabletop. Here, let's take a quick peek at it before we roll off here. So he's talking about another system here. I think we should watch it for sure. Let's see. So you can see that. Oh, my monitor turned off for a second. It does that. So there's Francine. Okay, so there's the storm there. That one goes inland, and then another low develops, maybe hitting North Carolina. Let's see here. Yeah, it's growing. It's growing traction. It is growing traction according to the GFS. I mean, so this is several models ago. This was 06 from yesterday. 06 Zulu, 12 Zulu, 18 Zulu, 0 Zulu, 06 Zulu. And you can see it's trending more north and increasing in intensity. Showing maybe a potential tropical cyclone. Maybe tropical storm. We'll have to see. Let me look at other models. It's never good to bias to one model. Yeah, I mean, also, look at that. So this is Euro. Euro does show the system here, too. Maybe depression status based off pressure. I mean, obviously can't be for sure, but still shows that low and maybe potential tropical system. Icon, on the other hand, do 0 Zulu here. I don't think Icon really supports it. Yeah, no. Yeah, Icon really doesn't support it too much. So it's mostly just the GFS and Euro. CMC maybe? Interesting. So CMC shows a lot of rain involved, but not necessarily a strong low. There's a bit of differences. But yeah, main GFS and Euro do show maybe a depression or maybe a storm forming. We'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on it. If it becomes a problem, we'll talk about it. So try not to worry about it too much. Anthony, thanks for subscribing, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. AF305 Noah 2 getting intercepts, get to the middle of the storm. Yeah, let's hop back to the recon real quickly. Oh yeah, you're right. They are flying back into the core here. So there's your plane. See it? There's your little icon. So they're sweeping back down towards the core. Last scan they got 976 millibars. That's what the pressure's at now. We did have a 972 millibar range though. That pressure could have been inside of an updraft though. I mean, that would have only changed the pressure by about like 2 millibars roughly though. But still, yeah, lower than 976. But that's current pressure from the NHC, so that's what we're going with. Shoot, I did not mean to exit that. Here, I'm going to squish my screen for you guys. It looks a little funny this way. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, look at this. Here's our drops-on data. This is actually something I really want to look at. So that left-hand side, like we mentioned, we got to watch out. That dry air is going to start getting to it. Let's look at sounding 7, drops-on sounding 7. The more gapped your dew points are from your ambient temperature, the lower the humidity. Still within reasonable threshold, though. So the dry air is not really getting to it much right now. Let's try 8. Yeah. Dry air is not really getting too much of it right now. What's up, Deborah? Aircraft observations like 974 millibars. Estimated MSLP. See, this one shows same thing. Yeah, like 975-ish, 74-ish. Yeah, they also got a 976 and 977. They're going back around though. Going back around. So yeah, the pressure's down in the mid 70s right now. Once again, sustained at 90 miles an hour, which makes it an upper level Category 1 storm. Overall. Let's see. My local news hasn't jumped on it on the hype train yet, so I think we're good. Yeah, it's tabletop. Like I said, don't let it get to you, man. That system. I mean, we'll monitor it. Like I said, if it becomes a problem, then we'll talk about it. But for right now, we need to focus on what's going on with this system here. Okay. Alrighty, everybody. Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the update here. Like I mentioned, we went live for about an hour just to kind of go over everything. If you just joining, if you want to rewind, go ahead and rewind back. See, Deborah says, just checking in, see how everything's going. Category 2. Wow, I hope everyone is okay. I'm wondering what the weather's going to be like in northern Illinois, North Aurora, if you can. So northern Illinois is not going to really be affected by this storm here, to be honest with you. The storm here, let's hop back over here. So for Illinois, the remains, I mean, obviously, according to GFS, doesn't even make it up there before kind of completely falling apart. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most models agree on that too. Like Euro here, Euro. Yeah, the storm just dies by the time it even gets near, though. Southern Illinois might be able to see a little bit of rain, but that's kind of where it dies out, is like right there in like southern Missouri and southern Illinois. But yeah, no, Deborah, you're good. Nothing big going on. Like I said, we'll watch out for this guy over here at some point. NHC has a 20% chance on it, so odds are not anything super crazy right now. Yeah, overall 20%. And then of course we have the two other areas up here. We have that big 90% chance. This one's getting ready to form here. See here, we're going to pull up the North Atlantic, hop you back to radar, or sorry, models. Let's see here. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so that's this guy right here, the one that picks up according to that. That's Euro. GFS, on the other hand, kind of has it remaining a fish storm and not really gaining much traction. Yeah, likely due to a lot of dry air intrusion on the left-hand flank, kind of preventing that system. And not enough moisture, really. We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, for real, though, we're heading off now. Thank you for joining. We'll catch you all later this evening. Once again, between 5 and 8 p.m., that's when we're expecting landfall, so we'll go live as soon as the landfall begins. So, like I said, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. It'd be greatly appreciated. We'll have storm chasers later on today, live cameras, radar, satellite imagery, observations, everything, really. We're going to need it to know. So we'll have everything available to you guys. So, once again, consider it. Be greatly appreciated. And, alrighty, everybody. Once again, thanks for joining. Hope to see you guys later on. on. Don't forget to leave a like on your way out, and most importantly, share this with your friends, family, coworker, neighbor, especially, like I said, please help get that word out there so that we can help keep you guys weather aware throughout the day with the system and obviously future systems as well. All right, guys, once again, thank you for joining. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. I'm Andrew. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll catch you in the update or the live stream later on. See you later, guys. Take care. Be safe out there. See ya later on. Peace out.